Today on the channel, we've got the misnumbered Studio Series 86 Galvatron on Way I Got It Figured.
The way I got it figured.
What's up, Transformers fans? Back with another Studio Series 86 review. Perhaps the penultimate one. I do have one more to do after this. Studio Series 86 Galvatron, Leader Class. So this figure is a straight reprint of the Kingdom / Legacy Galvatron mold. And you would think that I'm like some kind of super Galvatron fan. I mean, I like Galvatron. I like Galvatron a lot. But I don't like Galvatron so much that I have 5 copies of them. Or maybe I do, because I do. I picked this one up for 2 reasons. One, because I said from the beginning, I'm going to get every single Studio Series 86 release. That's the primary reason. Secondary reason, I like the color of Galvatron in the movie as opposed to just the purple that they just give them. This one should look, more to the animation model with the colors and everything. So we're going to check that out, of course. But I said I was going to get every single figure, and if I didn't get him, I'd be breaking my word. So we got Galvatron. So we're going to look at the box as always, talk about it, get them out, play around with them, do some comparisons, get you out of here with some final thoughts. So first off, he's Studio Series 86 number 31, Studio Series 86 31. But that's not accurate because Studio Series 86 Optimus Prime was Studio Series 86 31. Maybe Optimus is the mismatched one. Probably should have been 32. Or maybe Galvatron was supposed to be 32. Either way, it's actually a good thing probably they've gone away from the numbering on these because they've screwed up the numbering several times. There is no 19, which was probably supposed to be Hound, and there's 2 24s. Like one's Ironhide and the other one's somebody else. So they screwed up the numbering. I hate when they screw up numbering, but they almost always do. They did it with Vintage Collection at least once, maybe twice. So they do that. They will screw up a number here and there. So yep, that's the problem there. And looking at his package, of course, he's in the Transformers the movie packaging. His box got a little bit messed up, and we haven't basically having it for a while. Got your Galvatron picture, which is really the same artwork from Kingdom, if I remember right. They just put it on the side of this box. Picture of him, more full body. Then on the back, you got the render. The renders are the exact same renders as the Kingdom and Legacy release, but he's just been rendered in slightly different purple. And of course, he comes with a bad comedy backdrop. So without further ado, we're going to get old Galvatron out and see what we can see. All right, so we've got Galvatron out of the package with all of his accessories. And even though I have 5 copies of this figure, plus Straxus, I've never actually reviewed a Galvatron. All the Galvatrons came out prior to my starting this HeroClix channel, so I never reviewed a Galvatron before. So I do have already, straight out of the box, a little bit of customization. I had my good buddy Phil over at Crossfire Collectibles paint Galvatron's goatee in a charcoal gray. Phil does a lot of action figure customization. He makes like figures and stuff here and there. And so I knew he was the man for the task, because it bothered me greatly that they didn't um, paint his goatee a darker color as it was in the movie. So everything else about this figure is movie deco, but they couldn't, paint his goatee. Well, I wasn't gonna go for that, so it got painted. We'll do a little bit closer up look on it later. He comes with, all the way down the line, the exact same accessories that all other 4 versions of Galvatron comes with. They didn't change a single thing about this release except for the plastic color that it's molded in. So he comes with his 2 Revenge blasters. They are guns, but they're in the shape of the Revenge, the ship that Unicron bestowed on him in Transformers the movie. They also used it a couple of times in season 3 of the cartoon. It comes with a copy of the Matrix of Leadership, the chain, which also attaches to the Matrix of Leadership, and of course his cannon, but it is in matte. It is completely matte. There's no translucency, and we're going to put it on him to complete the look of Galvatron, of course, the basic look of Galvatron. Now we got something. So there you go. Looks great. I guess since I've never reviewed him, I'll go over his articulation, even though there's always, there are plenty of Galvatron reviews on YouTube, but he's got fully articulated arms, shoulder rotation, wrist swivel, waist swivel. That's only somewhat limited by his little back cannon piece here. Super high leg kick, super good back kick. His thigh swivel, and of course he has ankle rockers. So he's a pretty fully realized figure. You can look up a little bit and down a little bit. And that's pretty much your Galvatron articulation. So what we're going to do now is, I'm going to be honest with you guys, I'm not transforming him. I'm going to, I'll show his alternate mode in the video, but I'm not going to transform this copy. Just not going to do it. I hate transforming this figure. Straxus reminded me of how much I hate transforming him. But we will have a transformation section. It'll just be the Kingdom one, because that's what I have it in the mode, the canon mode. And then we'll do some comparisons. All right, so we've got Kingdom Galvatron in canon mode. And yeah, if you're going to have 5 copies of a figure, they got to be used for something. So I got the Kingdom Galvatron when it came out. It's the Kingdom Galvatron mainly because he's got the greebling, the essentially like Energon blood splatter from where he demolished somebody on his chest. A lot of people didn't like that. So, they were able to sell you the Kingdom Galvatron because he just lacked that. That's the exact same figure besides that, but you'll see that one too a little bit later. And the canon mode, pretty accurate to the source material, but that's how you do it. That's what it'll look like if you transform him, except in those colors. And so that will do it for that. All right, first up for comparisons, we've got Legacy Galvatron. It's the exact same figure as the Kingdom release, minus the greebling, as I mentioned. And, you know, the purple that they use for him is more akin to the purple he was on the cartoon rather than the movie. His palette was slightly changed on the show. So you got that. And of course, that looks fine until you see him done in the colors of how he was in the movie. So, you know, this is how we ended up doing this review and buying this figure. Next up, we've got the Generation Select Galvatron, which is basically like Furman Galvatron, or if you prefer, toy color Galvatron. And, you know, when they did the toy color one, the nostalgia gene kicked in, and I wanted it because it reminded me of the toy. He does come with like extra stickers that you can kind of make him look more like the toy. I didn't really want to go that far. I guess if you don't use the stickers, you're kind of looking at Furman Galvatron. If you do use the stickers, you're definitely looking at the toy. But yep, that was the second Galvatron I got. Last but not least, we've got the Behold Galvatron figure. It was with the Unicron companion pack. Obviously, I have a Unicron, so I had to get everything. And Galvatron, in the middle of reformatting, was definitely a figure I felt like I had to have. So, like, you know, like I say, you know, it's not like Galvatron is like my favorite or anything. I prefer Megatron for sure. But they did a very good job with the iconic moments of Galvatron, particularly in the movie. You know, this is just as much a Transformers the movie figure as the Studio Series 86 release. You had the toy one pulling on my heartstrings from back when I was a kid. And then you had the purple Kingdom one that, for all intents and purposes, you figured was just the Galvatron that there was going to be. And so that's the main Galvatron that, you know, would stand on my shelf, which of course is going to be replaced by Studio Series 86 for sure. But we're still not done. So Galvatron does have a retool in Straxus from the comic pack wave from last year. And of course, I did pick him up. So there he is. And like I said, some of his parts are the same, but he has a lot of retool going on. But he's technically a sixth Galvatron. So that's kind of crazy. Hasbro has definitely gotten their use out of the mold. And of course, like any self-respecting Transformers the movie fan, if you're going to have Galvatron, you got to have his army with him. So we've got Scourge, Cyclotus, and a sweep. And I do have an army of sweeps. I just can't fit them all in the frame. So it's just no point in dragging them all out. But there they are. They're all different shades. The only thing that's technically inaccurate is the sweeps were completely identical to Scourge in the movie. But I do like that they made sweeps a slightly different color so you could differentiate them from Scourge. But there you have it. There's your Transformers the movie Decepticon villains. My Kingdom Cyclonus has somewhat yellowed. It's a common problem with Cyclonus. Not as bad as others I've seen, but he's definitely got some yellowing. So hopefully he'll get a re-release with the better plastic where, you know, he won't yellow. And if they do that, Maybe they'll even give him a slightly better head sculpt, because I think the only thing wrong with this version of Cyclonus is that his head sculpt isn't the best. It's not the worst, but I just feel like it could have been a little better. His face, in terms of his face. So there you go. Now, I did say before we get out of here, I did say I would show a closer look at Galvatron and his painted goatee. So I wanted to make sure everybody got to see that. It's cool. You know, Phil just used a Gundam marker. Gave me 4 different choices to choose from, and I just used that. So there you go. All promises kept. Now we can move on to final thoughts. Final thoughts on Transformers Studio Series 86-31 Leader Class Galvatron. Hey, you know, I liked him. He was so nice, I bought him 5 times. Technically 6. You know, I'm going to continue to keep saying Galvatron isn't like necessarily my favorite figure or character, but I got a lot of Galvatron, so I don't know. You know, I guess the proof is in the pudding. Out of all of them, of course, this is the best one. Not in that he's any better than the other ones, but if you want that true Studio Series 86 Transformers the movie deco, this is the one to get. The colors definitely pop better than the other ones, I would say, and I really like the solid orange cannon. So this is going to be my Galvatron going forward. All right, so that's going to do it for this one. Appreciate all the views and everybody watching. I have plenty of Transformers content coming. I am going to actually finally do that Studio Series 86 Springer video. And I'll be honest, I just don't like transforming that figure. Sometimes there's figures you just don't like transforming, and you got to do it for the video. And so I just sit back and hem and haw, and God, I don't want to do this figure, but got to do it. So look out for that, as well as other Transformer stuff that I have sitting around to review. So there you go. If you're new to the channel, you like Transformers, this is definitely one of the places to come. Transformers is my main thing. Not that it's the only thing I cover, but it's the top thing. It's at the triumvirate, at the top of the pyramid. It's Transformers. So yeah, I get a lot of them. And one other thing, I was gonna get, you know, as everybody knows, DNA Designs does upgrade kits for Galvatron, and I think they've done them for virtually every version, but I never could pull the trigger on one. But I definitely think if they're going to do one that matches the Studio Series 86 version, since I know this is going to be my ultimate Galvatron, and I definitely won't buy another one, then this is the one that I will upgrade using a DNA design kit. So if I get that, I'll probably actually review the kit and everything, you know, in accordance with the Galvatron. All right. Enough out of me. Till next video, everybody stay safe. Happy collecting. Peace.
The way I got it figured.